increase the tax burden at all.
Yeah.
So, or some combination thereof.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, so because we've already been through this whole study, we picked projects that didn't end up in the red in any of these comparisons either, right? We didn't bother even considering them, right? But, I mean, there were some in here which were more expensive to do, so you actually would not necessarily break even, right?
Right.
These ones not only break even, but are profitable, all, however many there are. Right? So, yep.
Yeah, so I think we've moved past that sticking point where we were at the end of the last meeting.
We just need a way to, if we're going to write it up and send it out. And again, I checked with Arlene. If you guys are going to write something up that you want to include in the packet, it's got to be to Arlene by 4 o'clock tomorrow. And then she'll put, so if it's another table with a written description of what it is, then it's 4 o'clock tomorrow to Arlene.
Okay.
And then that will not only get it in the packet that gets distributed around town and sent to the town council, it'll also go online.
Right.
So anybody in town can also download it off that website. So I would encourage that if at all possible, if you guys can get a little, the table with a little description of it.
I was going to say, do you think maybe the table would work with just a little bit better descriptions at the top?
Yeah.
You know,
Can I defer this topic till we get through the rest of the agenda, so we sort of know what additional work we want to do, if any, and then sort of then we'll really know how to present everything. Dan, you've been in touch with the economist? Mm-hmm. He's coming, he's able to come?
Yes, he is.
Yeah. And anything we need to know about that, other than we figured out the numbers are all correct?
Right, or reasonably correct based on our estimates, but he was going to do an independent recalculation of them. So they may end up slightly different in whatever version he
But he would bring them, we're not going to have those for tomorrow.
Probably not.
There were two, go ahead.
Can I?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Bob brought up a point at the meeting, saying that there wasn't any formula, that you didn't know what the formula was that was used to generate these tables. Is that going to get resolved at the...
That's resolved. I mean, it wasn't that there's no formula, it's that I wasn't able to explain it well enough in that particular forum, so that we didn't know whether... Last week I was not, even though I said it, I wasn't able to explain that no, the electric meter had not been taken out of these numbers. I didn't say it clear enough, I guess.
Yes, we don't necessarily need the formula, we just need to basically know that these are elements that are involved in the calculation.
Well, I just thought that somehow that point that Bob brought up ought to be...
Right, that was in the paper, I noticed.
Somehow, at the meeting.
Right. Right. And it's not that any of that was hidden at all. I mean, like I said in the meeting last week too, it's in the report here. All you have to do is read the report and you can see exactly how he did it. Other than the one piece which is not public domain is how he calculates the estimates for renewable energy certificates and how he calculates what the market's going to be like over the next 20 years. That's how he makes his living. So that's a proprietary piece of information. But other than that, the method is all there.
But it's a small piece of the pie when it comes to the
right.
I just thought that, I don't want to belabor this, but I just thought that somebody else in the meeting heard that comment and was thinking, these guys don't know what they got, and he may still think that unless you somehow...
That's why I was suggesting it get written out here rather than just put the tables in. Just a simple written out thing, no proprietary formulas on recs, just say what the rec is, but I think it should be written out as an
well, an explanation of what each of the lines are would make sense. I mean,
well, these are lines that will probably be up there, not that table, but it'll probably be something like this up there. And if somebody comes up and asks again, how did you come up with this? Here's the cost number here. So the bottom one here says 4K 1 2 megawatt cost us this much, and we make this much. How do you get to that number?
You read the report.
People in that audience aren't going to go through that report.
Well, shame on them. I mean,
there are people in the audience asking simple questions.
Yeah.
I mean, you might want to...
That's the amount of power that's produced by the turbine times some factor, right?
You might want to
give you the cost.
Do a PowerPoint. And well, February and throw
we did that
slides up. But that was for a smaller group meeting, and it wasn't a decision-making meeting.
I mean, not that I'm opposed to it, I love the idea, but we could keep doing them forever.
No, I wouldn't say, you know, extended discussion.
Yeah.
But just the slide, so that it's up there, it's available to all the people in the audience to see. Okay, there is a A times B plus, et cetera, et cetera.
Why can't it just be a footnote up here?
I would just put it in as a written piece on the equation, let everybody have it. I would go to the PowerPoint thing again. Because we're not asking for presentation, I don't know if that's added on the agenda now. But all we're looking for
But just
is...
as it's a unfinished business.
I suppose, given the current standing where people were not sure of our explanation, and that needing to be explained, we probably should do something. I mean,
Again, just if you could just write down what it was and how you did it.
Did we present that in the original proposal when we presented it to the town council the first time? Did we have that kind of a formula in there? I know,
it's not exactly a formula, but we did present these tables.
What the elements.
You know,
what
it's
happened was,
it's a simple
we
spreadsheet.
still got the same table, we still got tables, and we couldn't say how it got calculated by the way I read it too. So if you could put up A plus B equals C, or kilowatt hours times, 1.65, whatever, times 14 cents equals the number. I don't know, but there's got to be some kind of roll-up formula.
I would think there would
Kind of
be, I
shows
don't
how
know.
There is. I mean, it's very straightforward. It's exactly what you said.
Well, then, like to Abby's point, you can put a bullet right under there.
Right.
I'd be happy to just add it as a footnote here tomorrow. I'll just read through the report, I'm sure.
Okay. So not a presentation, just want to put
I mean, maybe more than a footnote, maybe just the second sheet where, you calculate electricity value, dollars per megawatt hour is, this, and then the actual price is,
Let's like,
But that'll take
maybe it'll take long.
Now,
that way if anybody asks, you just go to page 3 and you can.
People have.
and we're only addressing these, right? Because the way it's calculated here in the original tables is different,
Yeah.
right? Okay, we all understand that, right?
No, you
Well,
said, wait a minute.
the calculations are saying it's got a different number in it.
Yeah, the calculation's basically the same, but the way you come up with the number over here is slightly different, so you can't quite do
That's
power
because of
times
the
kilowatt hour.
behind the meter.
because
You did it,
It's a balance.
but he didn't.
Correct,
Yes.
it's a balance between net metering and market value, whereas this is straight, the G32 rate under the new interpretation. So, and I mentioned that in the meeting last week, that this is the third interpretation of net metering. Legislation actually changed, but this is the second interpretation of this second form of net metering.
But without a formula, that probably made the lady's eyes glaze over.
Right.
Because they don't know what we're talking about.
Right. So-
But the interpretation with the G32 was the most favorable, it was
So
more
far, so
favorable than
good.
what was presented in the report,
Correct.
essentially.
It's better than what's in the report.
Is there any way to, through any memo that's been written that shows that there is a new interpretation that gives you the G32 rate where previously it was a...
Oh, yeah, there's 62 documents on the PUC website that say, here's the new interpretation of the net metering legislation. If you care to go read them, but there's one of them that's the most important that actually points out the G32 rate, so we could certainly point to that guy.
Put that as a reference underneath the form.
While we're on it, the committee has always looked carefully at how the net metering law as it's revised should be applied. And the G32 rate is actually, stop me if I'm wrong, but the G32 rate is actually less than the rate that we pay retail, that the town pays retail. Is that right? Slightly, it's close.
I think so. The town pays a whole bunch of different rates.
I see.
Depending on which meter you're
Right,
at.
don't they? Aren't you all in a cooperative agreement with a number of towns?
Yes.
Except for streetlights.
But even then, I think it's broken down by...
I'm sorry?
What's the document?
Energy use.
Docket number is 4079.
Water plants.
I'm pretty sure.
At a certain rate.
If it's not that one, it's 4111. And one of those is the
So they're rated.
long-term power purchase agreement, and the other one is the net metering interpretation. I'm pretty sure it's 4079.
Is that-
on the PUC
Actually, no, the
website.
light rate is, for the generation is 9.4 cents.
That's what you're